Thanks for listening to FYI Stillwater, where you will hear information about your local government you didn't know you need to know, straight from the source. Be sure to check out other news and information from the City of Stillwater at stillwater.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter. Hi, I'm your host, Sherry Fletcher, Director of Marketing and Civic Engagement. Today, my co-host is Communications Coordinator Megan Pardue. Good afternoon, Megan Pardue.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I didn't have a dream last night about gray hair, so I'd say I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, that was me. I think I'm getting old. So it was like a dream that I woke up. I have very dark hair, and I woke up with silver hair, and it actually woke me up. So I was telling her about that earlier. So
Yep, not worried about gray hair yet.
no,
It's coming for me, though.
Is it coming?
Yes.
Are you stressed? Lots
Yes.
of stress?
I could say grad school does that.
Yeah. All right. So what are we talking about today, Megan?
Today's guest is our IT director, Brad Stewart, and this is his first time on the podcast.
All right. Awesome.
So I'll start off with some basic facts about Stillwater's IT department.
Okay.
IT is basically an internal city department, so you may not see much of them, but they provide support for all computer operations and are always seeking ways to apply technology to our processes and our systems in order to improve our performance and cost effectiveness and other things like that. So they also provide maintenance and support for more than 500 computers and numerous servers, network systems, mobile devices, and lots of other stuff that I can't even pronounce or comprehend.
I have them on speed dial, and I actually consider one of his staff members like my spirit animal because Z is so calming, so that whenever I do have a crisis or something, I was like, what would Z do? Calm down. So anyway, so he's my spirit animal.
That's good to hear.
So welcome, Brad. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. So you know how we're going to start this.
No, I don't.
Well,
But I will say that I don't dream about gray hair anymore. I dream about having no hair.
No hair.
That's kind of my next step
You've
in life.
passed the gray
yeah,
phase.
you would accept gray hair?
Yeah, I'll keep the hair as long as I don't care what color it is.
There you go. So anyway, so we always start with a lightning round, and we're going to ask you some random but revealing questions.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
I guess so.
He sounds enthusiastic.
Yes, I'm honored to be the one to torture him.
Yes.
So, first question. Would you rather live where it only snows or the temperature never falls below 100?
Oh, I can answer that one. If I only had the choice between strictly snow or strictly sun and hot weather, it's no choice. It's got to be the hot weather.
All right.
Oh, you're on our team.
Yeah.
Good. People
Normally,
always say the snow.
Everybody likes the cold, and I'm like, I don't understand you people at all.
No way.
No, give me sun.
I got to get out
Yep.
and enjoy the weather, and I don't want it snowing on me, so I'll
yeah.
take the sun.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about snow. It's nice if you don't have to get out in it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but you know, we have nice snow for like the morning, and then it's just mud. And, like no,
Yeah.
Slushy,
It's that
muddy.
awful
and-
slush.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you know, just give me sunshine. I'm good with that.
Okay, so second question. Would you rather give up your smartphone or your computer?
That's a very IT guy question.
Yes, it is. Picked it just for you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, Megan, looking out for me.
She
Definitely.
has an IT boyfriend.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
You
I
have
am
good
dating
taste
an
in
IT
men.
guy.
Yeah, I like it. I like to hear that. Well, with today's phones, the smartphones we have, it's basically like having a computer in your pocket. So, again, that's an easy choice for me. I'll take my phone. I can actually pull this out of my pocket and remote into my City Hall computer securely, of course, but
Of course.
and do anything that I can do sitting at my desktop. Small screen, but I can get it done. So yeah, I'll stick with the smartphone.
I think
have
I'd take the
never
phone too.
tried to remote into my desktop from a phone. Is it like a secret skill?
Well, I don't recommend
only
it.
unlocked by
I know
the
the
IT
tools that you
director.
have, Sherry.
Yeah.
IT takes care of you, and I know the
Boy,
tools
that's
you have.
true.
So I wouldn't recommend using your iPhone or your
Uh-huh.
smartphone because it's a little challenging on that little screen. But
Right.
in a pinch, I've done it.
You have done
I've done
it.
it several times.
Yeah. The only thing I occasionally need is like a login and a password that I know it's on my desktop somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, why didn't I take a picture, screenshot that, and email it to myself or something?
Yeah.
So anyway. So I've been doing that a little bit more, kind of anticipating. Oh, I may need to log into that or something.
Yeah.
So trying to be proactive and think. Otherwise, I'd call Brad and have him do it for me. No, his team does take care of me. So I'm very appreciative of IT. So do we have another question?
Nope, that was it.
That was it? Wow, that went
all
fast.
the torture you have to endure today.
Yeah, see, that wasn't so bad.
Well, Megan did take it easy on me.
Yeah, she did. So let's jump into our interview. So to start off with, can you kind of walk me through your career path? How does one become an IT director?
Sure. Well, I can walk you through my path.
Okay, that's what we want to know about.
Right out of high school, I came to Stillwater to go to school, and actually, at that time, I wouldn't say I had a passion for IT or computers or technology. But while I was here in the College of Business at Oklahoma State, there came a time where I had to choose a major, and the IT field was hot. There were a lot of jobs,
Right.
and I started going in that direction, again within the College of Business, and ended up with a Management Information Systems degree.
What year was that?
Graduated in 1998.
Oh, so you picked a great time to get into IT.
Yes, and actually by that time I was already working part-time for the city of Stillwater, and had gotten to know the guys in the IT department, and they had a job waiting for me. So graduated, joined the IT
So
department.
this is the only job you've ever had?
It's the only professional job that I've really ever had.
Wow.
Yeah. Straight out of college, was in the IT department as a computer tech initially, and then a systems analyst for several years, and then I guess it was in late 2011, early 2012, I became the director
Right.
of the department.
Awesome. I envy people who fall into their careers fairly easily. Yeah, we got Tommy over there saying me. She had a job before she graduated too. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's really interesting that I didn't know this was the only place you had ever worked professionally. Yeah.
So you're like a
24
true
years.
pioneer, cowboy, and public servant.
Yes.
You're all wrapped into one.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
I'm not a Stillwater native, so I'm not technically a pioneer.
Oh, okay.
I graduated from Collinsville High School, just on the northern side of Tulsa. But I've been here longer than I've been anywhere else at this point.
I'd consider you one.
I'd
All
say
right.
so. Yeah. And your kids are pioneers.
Yep.
And you got a lot of them.
I got 4 of them, yeah. Plenty.
So that's why the hair's leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
So for those who don't know or think they know, but maybe really don't know, what does an IT department do? And why is it a place to be for your entire career?
Okay. Yeah, I don't, since I've been neck deep in it for so many years, I don't really know what the perspective of most people is. I see kind of the stereotypical
Right.
IT memes and the IT guys you see
Well,
on
those
the
are
web.
truths.
Oh, well, they're partially true. I'll give you that. But for me, it's been a fun career, and I'll kind of get into that. But so what the IT department does for the city of Stillwater, and Megan kind of touched on this. We've got 500 plus computers that we maintain, over 100 servers. Most of that is in a virtual environment in our data center, so they're not physical servers standing there, but 100 separate servers doing multiple jobs. Lots of remote devices, over 20 remote locations that are all a part of our network, all connected with fiber optic high-speed
Right.
connectivity, which is another thing I'm really proud of for the city that we have. And the IT department is in charge of maintaining all of those technologies across all those different departments that utilize it. So I tell people all the time, the IT department within a municipal government, and all I've ever known is the city of Stillwater IT department, we get our hands on all kinds of technology. So it's always interesting, it's always challenging, and it's always varied. We have a lot of different technologies that we get to get our hands on.
And you don't get to get rid of the old ones so quick, but other ones are coming on, and you're juggling a lot of technology and people who have different understandings of technology.
Sure.
So you're kind of a teacher as well.
Yes, and so another thing that we have to push is our customer service skills. You mentioned Z and his calming effect. Z, Michael Zanfordino.
He's zen.
He's zen. He's one of our frontline computer technicians and has a phenomenal bedside manner, for lack of a better term. He's great with the customers. And you mentioned the varying levels of expertise that people have. He's great at dealing with all of them. People that don't know the difference between a keyboard and a mouse, and the people that are very technologically savvy. He's good at dealing with both of them, and we really push that customer service part of our job because that's what we're here to do, is support the city employees so that they can provide the best service for the city of Stillwater citizens.
One of the stereotypes is that you have IT people who don't like to talk to people, and they're more happy working with the equipment. However, but in reality, you are a customer service point for the staff, and there is a lot of hand-holding and problem solving. Like if we run into a problem broadcasting the council meeting while we are technically, kind of running the software, we don't fix the computers or the fibers or the connectivity and stuff. So we have to call IT to come down and take care of things really quickly on the fly and take care of things. And it's really interesting. I never once think there's going to be a failure. Like if something's not going right, I just know IT is going to take care of it quickly, and people may not see them coming and going and doing it, but it never once occurs to me that it's just going to be, oh, well, just hang it up and
it's just not going to work today.
Yeah, it's not going to work today, because that's really not failure is really not an option really for you guys. It's like people expect their computers or their technology just to work.
There's a lot of technology that is kind of out there on the leading edge. Like you mentioned, the council meetings, it's very visible. And so your team is really the ones running it, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of IT aspects. And so Aaron Kelly is a guy that's been working with you.
And he is awesome.
Every week. Aaron, can you come help us with this?
He was instrumental in upgrading some of that equipment, both in the council room and then in the back end in the broadcast room. And he's knowledgeable about all of that, and I think has worked many hours with your staff. And so, yeah, I've got a great team, and the IT department, again, that's another proof that we're working in all kinds of different technologies. So you don't think of the broadcast equipment and the back end. I'm sitting here looking at this stuff that looks like a spaceship in your broadcast room.
We should post a picture of that, Thomas.
You don't think of that being something that the IT staff is necessarily supporting, but it is. And all the way from that to the fiber optic network that's strung around the actual city proper, connecting our buildings, and all the other vast technologies that we have to deal with and maintain.
So you're also playing a role in the new AMI equipment that's coming through. Can you tell us a little bit of what that project is and how you're involved in it?
Sure. That's a big project, and I'm by no means the expert on all aspects of it. But AMI is automated metering infrastructure. It's basically a way that we can get meter readings remotely, both water and electric, so that we don't have to send people out in a truck and on foot to read those meters and then send out bills. The meters can remotely talk back to our data center here at City Hall via a wireless network. So we will be replacing all the electric meters throughout the city, which is
big project.
Yeah, it's roughly 20,000 meters that will be swapped out on the electric end. water meters actually won't need to be replaced, but the radios connected to the water meters will be.
And for the public, it's going to be pretty much seamless. They're not going to know anything has happened.
You don't see
But-
all this behind the work
Right.
or behind the scenes work.
Yeah.
Right.
Because a lot of staff were involved. It's been a long time coming. It's a big project.
Yep.
Lots of IT considerations.
Yeah, there's back-end networking configuration that has to be done in order to make that happen. There's equipment that's going in our data center, and then there's the wireless network that technically is not owned by the city. It's not run by the city IT department. It's a part of the AMI infrastructure, but it's then interconnected with our city network. But yeah, it should be pretty seamless to the citizens. Every citizen will get a notification that, hey, this is happening, and we're going to be coming to your, the electric utility or the water utility is going to be coming to your property to swap out the meter or the radio, but it shouldn't interrupt service much, and it should just be pretty seamless.
Awesome. One thing that I kind of wanted to talk to you while you were down here is about when we went into kind of our shutdown mode with COVID. And you guys did what I consider kind of unbelievable work in an unbelievable amount of time, is that you kind of reconfigured a bunch of computers and sent them home with the staff. And can you tell me what that was like and what your thoughts were during that process? Because it was a really quick turnaround.
Yeah, that was, as you guys are all well aware, it was all unprecedented, and it was something that we weren't necessarily prepared for. But our staff got notice, and I think within about 72 hours we had pulled approximately 60 laptops. Some were old laptops, some were laptops we had for check-in, check-out use, and then just other devices that we had. But approximately 60 laptops, configured them for remote work from home, configured the network settings for those 60 employees so that they could access the network remotely and securely, and then did brief trainings for all of those employees as they were picking up these devices. This is
In a
how
very
you,
stressful situation.
in a what was an unusual and stressful situation, and my staff just really pulled together and got this done, working some long hours over those 48, 72 hours. And I couldn't be more proud of how they responded and what they were able to accomplish. Yeah.
I really thought it was amazing that, and people did take their computers home and they did work from home. And if you guys had not done that, I think service would have been interrupted, things would have slowed down. But, honestly, for the public, I don't think they realize how much IT actually made everything run smoothly. It was really amazing. Like in my department, everyone went home, but me, I continued to work out of the office. But if you start looking around, it was just like one person in every department was about it. Everybody else went home.
Yeah.
And continued doing their work.
For the most part, we were able to keep all departments working. And like you said, there was a skeleton crew that may have remained at City Hall, but many employees were working at home as if they were sitting at their desktop. We shuffled some things in City Hall so that we could take payments all in one location in the police department lobby. That was other work that was required by city IT staff to reconfigure the network.
You have to move things.
Yeah, we had to move computers and receipt printers and credit card swipe devices and get those things working in a new part of the network. And so there's, again, behind the scenes, there's
things you would never see.
Things you wouldn't think of that have to be done in order to let these devices now work in this part of the network when they were
I imagine
over
it's
here.
an incredible amount of problem solving. Just like, okay, so if we put this over here, it's going to affect this, this, and this, so we got to go. And, so anyway, it was very impressive. And the staff came through, and, that it really wasn't a burden to any of the rest of us. I imagine for IT, those few days, it was like moving fast and furious.
It was. It was something new every day seemed to pop up, but again, my staff handled it well. Things like our council meetings and coming up with a way to do those remotely. the Zoom meetings, which I was familiar with Zoom, but got very intimately familiar with Zoom very quickly.
And then the one thing that we were able to do, if people have been watching our council meetings, is that we can have half the council in the council room. People come in remotely. We can broadcast it on television, YouTube, and Facebook, kind of at all the same time. In part because we had just upgraded our equipment a few months earlier. But a lot of cities were looking at us saying, "How did you guys figure that out?" It looks because it really looks good. And sometimes on the back end, the staff is like, "Oh, push this, oh this, we need to reset this, oh my God." There's a lot going on, and a lot of trying to remember all the processes and trying troubleshooting a little bit on the side, but because we had this technology and we had staff, we actually figured out what a lot of other cities cannot do to this day. So if other cities wanted to have a council member not be present, they would have to call in on a phone line, and then they would put a mic beside the phone line. Is kind of how.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what a lot of cities are doing.
Yeah.
And so we have, so everybody's broadcast, everybody can see it, and it looks really good. So I'm.
Yeah, lots of trial and error to get to that point, and lots of collaboration between marketing, IT. So it was crazy time.
It was crazy times. And I doubt that we go back. I think this pandemic has really changed a lot of what we do, and a lot of how people view IT as well. Is because it's like it's not hidden, in a department. It's like, oh, they affect everything. Their input affects everything that we do because we're so reliant on technology anymore.
Very true. Yep, the technology touches every aspect of nearly every employee, so it's something that we take a lot of pride in. And
so, Brad, what other projects and stuff would you like to talk about? Or you guys are always busy, always looking for something new. What else is going on?
Oh boy, let's see. Well, we've just last year completed a pretty major overhaul of our data center infrastructure. So. I think I mentioned earlier, we run mostly a virtual shop. Most of our servers are running in a virtual environment. Those virtual servers run on 3 physical machines that were getting pretty old and ready to be replaced. So we replaced those 3 physical servers, all new data storage, and so those components, both at our data center here at City Hall and our disaster recovery location at the power plant, were replaced last year. That was a pretty major undertaking. And we've got another infrastructure project that is currently going on. We actually haven't started yet, but it was approved for this fiscal year, and we're getting bids and working towards that. And that's our core networking switches, again, both at the City Hall data center.
What do they do?
So those are just the switches that plug in that accept the plugins of all the networking cords and route all the data from your machine back to the data center and in the intermediate closets, networking closets around the building. So we've got roughly 20 networking closets that will have switches in them, and that
I hear all about switches.
Yeah,
my boyfriend Troy, who is an IT guy, like I mentioned earlier, he comes home every evening griping about switches.
Is that right?
So that's the dinner table topic.
That is our dinner table topic.
That memes.
So Brad just triggered me when he started talking about that.
Yeah, the hair went up on the back of her neck.
Oh boy, I'm sorry, Megan. But that's another big project that actually is about a $300,000 project.
Wow.
To get all those switches upgraded. It also includes some fiber cabling between the network closets and our data center, which is currently not fiber optic, and so that limits us in the speeds that we can achieve and with our data transfer. We're going to also upgrade some firewall devices, both for network reasons and for security reasons. So it's another big sort of core infrastructure project that's happening this year.
So you guys spend a lot of time kind of anticipating when things need to be upgraded, what technologies affect other technologies, and just trying to make sure that the city's up and running all the time.
Yeah, as you're probably aware, it doesn't take long for technology to age.
Boy, that is the truth.
And so, we're on about a 4-year cycle for replacing desktop computers. Some of our data center equipment actually can go a little longer. It's a 5 or 6 year replacement schedule. But yes, those are things that are always sort of on the horizon and things that we have to be scheduling and thinking about.
So you guys are really busy and you have a lot going on, and we really can't run without you. At least that's the way I see it.
Well, that's the way I see it too, Sherry. So I'll take it.
He's like, I'm so important.
Yeah. That's why they get like the big area up on the second floor, and we're stuck in little bitty cubicles.
You don't remember the old IT location, so
I don't.
we were tucked away in what was essentially a
closet.
A closet, yeah. And no windows and no elevator, so we had to carry all of our equipment up and down stairs.
Oh, wow.
So we do feel like we're in heaven now.
Yeah, well deserved though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today. So can we invite you back to continue talking about switches and the important things?
Sure,
maybe
anytime.
when we redo the computer fleet, I think that is really interesting to walk people through on all the steps for those really big replacements.
Yeah, that's a big project for sure.
All right. Well, thanks again, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
So let's head to the mailbox, Megan. The City of Stillwater receives questions in a variety of formats, including email, social media, and even phone calls. So our first question today is from Facebook. I have been seeing orange and white barriers on the sidewalks and parking lots around town. What are these? Megan, do you know?
Streeteries. These are a new thing in Stillwater.
So say it again.
Streeteries. It's kind of like a mashup of words. It's like streets and eating, I guess.
Streets.
They're also called parklets in other cities.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a new thing in Stillwater. You might have seen some orange and white barriers around town, maybe on sidewalks or in parking spaces in front of businesses. Basically, this is a new way for businesses to practice COVID-19 precautions and adhere to those guidelines while making their services and products available to you. So the ones you see now are actually operating under a temporary permit granted by the City of Stillwater, but we're working with the community to make this law for long term, and we actually want your input. So if you have any thoughts on this or even just new ideas on how to implement this, you can tell us what you think. Go to speakup.stillwater.org.
And they would be able, like, if you are in another city and you see a really great way that people have been using the public areas for additional seating areas, take a picture of it and upload it. It would be really helpful, and it could help a business expand their seating area.
Absolutely. Stillwater's kind of bandwagoning onto this, so we're excited to see where this goes long term.
Awesome. Let's go to question number 2. I think this one's from Twitter. I heard that flights will continue without interruption in October for the airport. Yay! But what does this mean for the schedule? Are there still 2 flights or what? A lot of questions and a little bit of uncertainty. What can we do to assure this person?
Okay, so for those of you who may not be following, the Stillwater Regional Airport was looking at a suspension for October flights through American Airlines, but that's no longer true. So you're going to have a no interruption in your service for October. The November schedule has not yet been announced. So right now we are looking at 2 flights per day, and we actually encourage you to book now if you're considering any travel this holiday to show your support for the continuation of our service. So American Airlines offers a lot of flexibility right now, and you can go online to aa.com and you can search our flights and book.
Awesome. We've done a lot to promote the commercial airline services out of Stillwater. So like Megan said, flights are continuing. So please book, and let's keep our service.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for being my co-host today, Megan, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening to FYI Stillwater. If you like this episode, help us out and give us a like or share us with your friends.
Stay tuned for our next podcast.
If you have a question for City Hall, email news@stillwater.org, and in the next podcast, we'll answer a few of them. FYI Stillwater is available on our website at stillwater.org, Spotify, and just about anywhere else you enjoy your podcast.